last week, the Mustangs homecoming was spoiled by a 29-28 overtime loss with just 2 games remaining. Fort Morgan looks to climb back to 500 in league play and remain undefeated on the road this season. Their opponent, the Frederick Warriors. Frederick is looking to maintain their perfection both at home and in league play. Led by senior running back Dalton Hall and junior quarterback Jerron Ballman, the Warriors have posted a 6-2 record on the year and have their sights set on the state playoffs. The Mustangs welcomed back senior Matt Godo, who rushed for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns in last week's loss. He's back in a rushing attack that has averaged 180 yards a game on the ground. The Mustangs close out their road schedule tonight here in Frederick. We'll have kickoff coming up for you next. Both teams have made their way to the field. Frederick, clad in their blue uniforms, gold helmets, gold numerals, blue pants. Fort Morgan in their white uniforms with the maroon numerals, white helmets with the maroon Mustang on them, black pants, and everybody in long sleeves here, including all of the teams, the officials, the fans, everybody here in Frederick, because it is cold. I'm Alex Egan, joined by Kevin Rohde and our man running the board, Braden Snyder, back there at our B106 studios at Fort Morgan. Kevin, with what we have going here tonight, it's going to be a run game between both of these teams.
Yeah, both of these teams are not real strong in passing. Frederick's a little bit more, but we're going to see a very chilly night with a very hard field. As the field freezes, the water on it's going to freeze up and make it very hard even to run. Although, as a offensive coordinator, you can look at passing and say, when your receiver goes out, he knows where he's going, the defender might slip. So we might see a little bit of play-action pass to just catch the other team by surprise.
I would think that the run is going to be the first option for both of these squads here tonight, as there is still some snow on the field. They tried to get as much of it off of it as they could. You can see along the sides, along the track that surrounds the field here at Frederick High School, that there is a lot of snow built up towards that, but still some areas on the field. In fact, if you were to take the field and divide it into thirds lengthwise, on this near third, there is a little bit of snow towards the end zone to our north, and there is a lot of snow between the 20s, well, really all the way down the opposite sideline that Fort Morgan's on. They do a great job of clearing it on the visitor sideline in that third, just outside the hash marks. So it's going to be a little bit of a treacherous track here at Frederick as we get set. The captains are going out now with the officials. For the Mustangs, Miranda, Hoffman, Schneider, and Anderson.
It'll be an interesting game to see which Fort Morgan Mustang team shows up. The team that we've seen on the road with 4 victories that have played really pretty good football, or the teams that we've seen at home who the first 3 games lost to pretty good opponents, but last week kind of caved to the pressure and gave up the momentum in the fourth quarter. If we have that fourth quarter team from last week playing tonight, I think it's going to be a really long, cold night for the Mustangs. If we see that team that's fired up and inspired and wants to upset Frederick, I think we're in for a good game.
That midweek snowstorm that brought all this snow here to the area has shown that it's stuck around, not because that it's been cold since, but it just hasn't had with how much snow that came down, and I'm sure you folks listening wherever you are, it was hit. The snow is still on the grassy areas. As we see the result of the kickoff, Frederick will receive. I believe the Mustangs won the toss, and they have elected to defer to the second half. So with the Frederick Warriors taking the ball first, we'll have to wait. Just to give you a little bit of background for both of these schools, both schools have played a lot of common opponents. Both schools have played a lot of common opponents. They've both defeated Erie. They've both beaten Berthoud and Northridge. Northridge, of course, the shared league opponent between the two. They've both lost to Roosevelt decidedly. Frederick defeated Fort Lupton, however, 2 weeks ago, and Fort Morgan obviously lost to Fort Lupton in the overtime game last week. So as we get started here, we'll see the clock operator put up a fresh 12. We're in Frederick, Colorado, on a very cold, chilly night. And if you are outside, we can empathize with you. We are on top of the press box for this game. There's just not enough room in this nice old stadium. Like we said, they're moving to a new one next year. Jacob Frick has the ball teed up for the Mustangs on the 40. The Mustangs will kick from left to right on your radio dial or computer screen, however you're joining us tonight, and we thank you for joining us. 12 minutes on the clock. Frick puts his foot to the ball, sends it away, and it'll be returned at the 5, coming up through the middle of the field for the Warriors, out across the 35 to the 37-yard line. The return man there for Frederick. Well, I'm not quite sure. I couldn't catch his number there, but decent field position here for the Warriors as they start out. 11:54 on the clock showing. The 37-yard line where the Warriors will get to work. The quarterback will turn and hand it off. That quarterback, Jerron Ballman, 2 for 5 last week for 70 yards. Only a 10% clip. He had 10 carries, though, for 39 yards. And as we've seen on the gain of a couple there for the Warriors, they're a very highly running team. Only 61 pass attempts for Ballman on the season, and we're in game 9.
Yeah, and the field is a lot more treacherous than it looks from up here. On the kickoff and on that last play, the footing, they're kind of skating out there.
Second down play is a sweep play to Dalton Hall. Check that, to Ryan Miller, the big fullback there for the Warriors. He's a 6'2", 205 junior, so essentially the same as Jose Miranda, just a few inches taller. He picks up, we'll call it 4 yards there, and it leaves the Warriors with a 3rd and short on the 2nd and 7 play. Now they're facing a 3rd and 4. Ballman in the shotgun. He will get the low snap and keep it himself as he tries to run through the middle of the line, escapes the tackle, gets brought down right at the sticks, and he falls just beyond them as he crosses the 50-yard line. No, they'll spot the football right at the 50-yard line, and that'll be good for a Frederick first down.
Yeah, Fort Morgan kind of had him bottled up there. This quarterback sneak from the shotgun. Fort Morgan not looking bad here. Definitely not being dominated by the Frederick ground game.
So 10 yards in 3 plays so far. We'll call it 11 yards in 3 plays. The give goes inside. That was Casey Rivera on the give. He had a good week last week. 13 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was really accentuated by a 92-yard rushing touchdown that he had. He gets 1 on the carry, and it'll be 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Fort Morgan packing it in, not expecting Frederick to try and run to the side because of the footing. It's just going to be a slugfest inside tonight, I'm afraid.
We'll see probably a quick game with both teams electing to run the football a lot. The give this time goes to Dalton Hall. He'll go around the right side looking for some running room. He'll be brought down, but a flag comes in late, and another flag tossed by the head official. A flag came in from the back judge, and a flag comes in from the head official well after the play had ended. The ball right now spotted on the 45-yard line of Mustang territory. TJ Schneider credited with the tackle, and we'll see what the officials decide here.
It looks as though Frederick's kind of hanging back, and Fort Morgan's looking to move them back, so possibly a penalty against Frederick.
You're right, Kevin, as we have a hold against Frederick and a personal foul against Frederick. So Fort Morgan will decline the hold, take the personal foul with the 15 yards.
That would be the strategy that I would take, except on a cold night like this. Why not put them back 10 on the hold and then another 15? If they allow them to do that, I'm not sure. Being a dead ball, I would think that they could take both and take 25 yards and have a great advantage, even though Frederick would have another down.
I think you're right, Kevin. The official did signal that it was a dead ball personal foul, so I think both of these penalties will be marked off here. Let's see what we got from the official. He's meandering is probably the best way to put it towards the press box. So a signaling the hold, that will be declined. The dead ball personal foul will be taken. So the 15 yards will go against Frederick.
That brings up a 3rd and 20. I think that's probably a good decision because 2nd and 40, 3rd and 20, not much advantage there. I don't know about you, Alex, but I'm going to refer to this as frigid Frederick because it is kind of chilly out here tonight.
It is a bone-chilling cold. So after the mark-off, a 3rd and 20 play back on the 40-yard line of Frederick territory. They need the Mustangs 40. The give goes inside to Dalton Hall. He bounces around, eludes the tackler, and will be out of bounds just shy of the first down as he gets across midfield to the 45. Just inside, I believe, the 45-yard line as well. This cold is going to affect me all night, Kevin. It's early, too. Where they will mark him, and it'll bring up a 4th down play, and it looks like Frederick's offense is going to stay out on the field and try and go for it.
Yeah, that was a nice pickup of 16 yards. Makes it a very manageable 4th and 4. Maybe look for a hard count and get Fort Morgan to jump off sides and then punt it. If you don't make it, some disorganization on Frederick's team.
Oh, now we'll see a timeout as there was some late substitutions being made, some interesting communication problems that we've seen here. So Frederick will take a little bit to think this over. 9:29 on the clock here in the first quarter. Still zeros, our score. We'll keep it here.
This would be a great place if they do make a attempt on an offensive play for Fort Morgan to stop them to get some good field position and maybe get the offense back out with some momentum going their way.
We'll tell you about some of the rest of the players for Frederick's offense. Dalton Hall, he's 26. He's the running back. He has 116 carries for 832 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season. Pretty impressive numbers coming from him. He also has 4 receptions for 37 yards, and last week threw a pass that went for a touchdown as well for 30 yards. So we've got the 4th and 4 play coming out of the timeout. Both teams line up. In the shotgun is Ballman. He's got a man in motion towards the middle. They're going to run the reverse, and the man will slip, but he doesn't go down. No, the referee does call him down. Back behind the original line of scrimmage at the 48-yard line, we'll call it, and the Mustangs will take over there. So a little bit of unfortunate events for the Warriors as the man had a wide-open lane to get that first down, but he slips and falls, and when his knee goes down, the play is dead, and they will turn the ball over on downs.
Yeah, like we said, it's kind of treacherous. You really don't want to be trying to run a reverse or an outside play on a night like this, especially when you need to get some yards. It'll be very interesting to see how Fort Morgan attacks this game.
Fort Morgan starting this drive from their own 47, 1st and 10. Martin's under center, heavy set. 3 men in the backfield. Now Fitzsimmons moves to this near side. Spreads out wide. Martin's fakes the give. We'll see the option look as Alexander will get the pitch. He'll cut the corner, get around the 50, and be brought down out of bounds just as he crosses into Frederick territory. We'll spot the ball at the 47-yard line there, so a pickup of 5 as it'll be a 2nd and 5 play now. 9:14 showing on the clock.
Yeah, it was a very late pitch. Martin's waiting till the defensive end was almost on him, and with cold hands, we're going to want to make sure that we have good exchanges tonight.
Again, the same look for the Mustangs. The give this time goes to Alexander, who gets wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Several players there for Frederick, just to name a few. Alex Vineyard, the 6'1 senior, 185 pounds. He's a linebacker. He was the one who definitely cut through the line and wrapped up Alexander's ankles for his mates to come and finish the tackle.
Possibly Frederick scouted how Fort Lupton attacked Fort Morgan's defense, the Mustangs' defense last week. Because Alexander really didn't have a very good game. Fort Lupton kind of keyed on him and was able to stop those plays.
3rd and 5 now for the Mustangs. The Mustangs have scored on their opening possession of the game in the last 2 weeks. Looking to do the same here. Matt Godo gets the carry. dives through the middle of the line, and it'll be stopped. Looks like just short of the stick, so it'll be a fourth and a nose of a football. No measurement taken by the officials. Martins will stay on as the ball will be spotted at the 43-yard line, 43.5-yard line, and they need the 43. See if we can get a hard count here out of Martins. He'll send a man in motion. That's Sills. The give goes inside to Godo, who dives forward, and it looks like he has enough. The officials blow the clock as they will spot the football. The defense for Fort Morgan coming onto the field. And now we'll see a measurement come from the officials.
Well, it looks like those defensive kids for Fort Morgan are ready to play some ball. They're anxious to get back out there and put some licks on Frederick. Not real sure whether he got that first down. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go to the quarterback sneak, although Frederick did have two kids in the guard center gap, so maybe Martins read that, opted out for the fullback dive.
Now they set the sticks down here, and it looks like they'll be just shy. They will, just by a hair. The Mustangs are short, so their first drive ends on a turnover on downs the same way Frederick's did, as they are just short of the first down. The ball will be spotted, we'll call it the 43-yard line. And Frederick will get to work here on their second possession of the first quarter. The give goes to Miller, and he'll be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Katie Schneider there making the tackle, as it almost looked like he just fell over, and it knocked Miller off of his cleats.
Yeah, he was trying to get around, and there was a Fort Morgan defender holding up his blocker and kind of making him go around, and another defender snuck in there and put a lick on him and knocked him down.
So with the loss on the play, it'll bring up a 2nd and 11, 41-yard line, the spot of the football. The give goes inside, and with not much room to run is the Warriors running back. That was Dalton Hall on the carry. He'll pick up a few more yards and bring up a 3rd and long.
I'm wondering if we're just going to play between the 40s all night, or whether one of the teams is going to see the sense of punting and maybe winning some field position.
It could be one of those games, Kevin, that whoever makes the least mistakes tonight will win, or whoever gets luckiest first. Ballman turns, hands it off to his running back, who dives through the middle of the line. Looked like Hall again with the carry. He'll be stopped short of the first down and shy of the 50-yard line. The Warriors need the 47 of Mustang territory, and now we will see the punter come out for Frederick as they face a 4th and 4 here. We'll call it 4th and 3. Kevin Retchless, the punter for the Warriors, receives the high snap, gets away a wobbly kick that'll be fielded by Yuli Hernandez. No, he'll let it bounce, and Frederick will down the ball at the 10-yard line of Mustang territory, just outside the 10-yard line. We'll call it the 11, and that is where Fort Morgan will take over for their second possession of the game. Fort Morgan has posted last week over 200 yards of offense at home for the first time this year in last week's loss to Fort Lupton. That was something that we had mentioned in the game at Northridge, that if they went over 200 yards of offense, they had been pretty successful because, well, really, they'd only done it on the road. So far, they haven't been able to pick up a first down here. 5:57 on the clock. Martins turns, hands the ball off to his running back, who plunges through the middle of the line. We'll grab a number on that back for you. Matt Godo with the carry. As he picks up 3, brings up a 2nd and 7.
Yeah, if it was hot and dry, we'd say 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but maybe a few ice crystals flying up on a night like tonight.
We'll see the same type formation, 3 men in the backfield, 1 fullback, 2 running backs for Martins, who turns and hands it off to Alexander, who tries to bounce it outside. He will be brought down as he was clipped going to the outside. He does pick up a couple yards on the carry, though, and it brings up a 3rd and somewhat manageable. Be a 3rd and 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity down in the crowd as they're trying to stay warm and move around.
I don't blame them for trying to move around. Again, the tight formation. Fitzsimmons comes in motion. The give goes inside to Godo, who plunges through, and he'll be just shy of the first down. Needs the 24-yard line. I think he got the 23. 4:31 and counting on this clock, and from my perspective, that's a good thing. As they continue to move this clock, we have yet to see a pass play as both teams have run the football. And on the 4th and 1 play, we'll see Martin stay out there. So a risky call by Harrison Chisholm as the ball's on the 22-yard line. A 4th and 2, we'll call it officially. Maybe we'll see a hard count here out of Martins, trying to get the defense to bite. Schneider spreads wide, and Martins will turn and call the timeout, and we'll see the punt unit come on. So an attempt to get the Warriors to jump off sides results in Martins having to call a timeout. We'll step aside. Still zeros. 4 minutes exactly showing on the clock here in Frederick. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. Out of the timeout, Tony Zwetzik comes on to punt. He has 31 punts for a 33.74 average. He's only got 1 inside the 20, as long as 65. That happened early on in the season. Becky to receive for the Warriors is Jacob Sleeth. Zwetzik gets the snap, gets away a high end-over-end punt that Sleeth won't touch with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, he'll just back away from it. And it'll be down inside the 40 of Warrior territory. We'll spot at the 36-yard line. So a decent job there by Zwetzik to kind of flip the field on the Warriors as they punted. We've seen both teams trade 2 possessions. Nothing up on the scoreboard.
That was a good exchange of field position there. Fort Morgan or Frederick last time they punted were all the way, up at almost at the midfield, and so we gained about 13 yards on that trade.
Ballman in the shotgun, sets his line, has a man come in motion. The give goes to Dalton Hall inside. Check that. That's Miller. He'll come around the outside and be wrapped up there by Cody Davis, but not before picking up 8 yards, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 2 from the 45-yard line.
Yeah, Miller's one of those old-style fullbacks. He's a big old kid that if he has a full head of steam, you don't want to take him on, but he was kind of dancing out there.
Again, Ballman in the shotgun. The snap is low and fumbled almost. Ballman gets away from a tackler. He's got room to run around the far side of the field. He's across the 50, 45, 40. Down to the 35, he'll lose another tackle to 20, and finally brought down by Jose Miranda. There's a flag on the field, this near sideline. Might see a sideline infraction. That could really negate that huge play. Oh, boy, that would be a killer. As the ball right now is spotted just outside the 10-yard line, the 12, I believe, is where they have it. That was a gain. Just under 40 yards, unsportsmanlike against the Warriors, so a sideline infraction. So I think they'll call the play, completed play, and they'll march him back 10 yards with the officials. It's a 38-yard run on a fumbled snap. And they'll push the ball all the way back to the 29-yard line. So the unsportsmanlike penalty ruins what would have been a rather good run. So it'll be 1st and 10, though, for the Warriors from the 29. The give goes inside. Nothing there, really, as the man spins away, and he's got room to run around this outside. He gets across the 20, 15, 10, 5 at the foot race to the pylon, and he's in for the end zone.
That was a nice little play with his treacherous footing. Fort Morgan's trying to key on the inside play, and he took it inside and then cut it outside. There was no one there for Fort Morgan.
Well, credit Dalton Hall on the carry. He gets a 29-yard touchdown run on a first down play with 2:47 remaining here in the first quarter. The Warriors take a 6-0 lead. Retchless in to attempt the PAT. High snap, and it's going to have to be fielded by Ballman, who's a quarterback. He's looking to move. He throws, and it's off his intended receiver's hands. So the PAT try goes for naught as the snap was too high, and Ballman had to throw. So it remains 6-0 here in the first quarter. We'll step aside. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. Dalton Hall with a 29-yard touchdown run, his 11th on the season rushing, has got the Warriors up 6-0 here at Frederick. 2:47 on the clock. The ball will be teed up by Retchless. He'll send it away, and it'll be fielded at the 5. Fumbled briefly, but picked back up for the Mustangs, and the return man will try and get through the middle, and he'll be dropped. Michelle Franco on the return. He gets across the 25 to the 27-yard line, so a decent field position here for Fort Morgan as they need to get something moving here on offense.
Absolutely, Alex. If they can't get something going here and the defense has to come back out, it's going to be shades of some of the earlier games where we talked about, even on a cold night, you're not getting hot, but you're getting tired, struggling and fighting, and it takes some energy to keep warm, too.
We see some late changes for the Mustangs as they have a man go off and bring in some other personnel. 2 wide receivers. Anderson split to the far side. Schneider this near side. Davis goes in motion. The kid goes inside to go. Passes off of a man, gets across the 45 and dives ahead. Will fall short of the 50-yard line to the 49, but that's a pickup of 14. And he'll have a first down for the Mustangs.
Yeah, very nice run. Just a dive offside and then a reverse spin by Martins to carry out the fake to the left side. Whoever's job it was to plug up that number 2 hole missed.
I checked that. That's the 44-yard line, so only a gain of 12 that time for the Mustangs. As Godo will get the fake this time. Martins keeps it himself, tries to go off tackle, and he's met by a number of Frederick tacklers. Picks up about a yard. It'll be a 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Fort Morgan's just trying to keep some positive things going and get some yards. That's Martin's first carry of the night.
Martins again last week. Not a great game statistically, but was able to lead the Mustangs to some points. 1 for 11 passing. Had the 6 carries, though. The give will come on the end around this time. Jared Bohm gets the carry. He'll dive across the 50-yard line, just beyond the 50-yard line as he comes around this near side. And with 1:32 and counting on this clock, the Mustangs will face a 3rd down play. And Kevin, I'm starting to see my breath up here.
Yeah, it's chilling out down here in the valley. Driving up here tonight, as the sun was going down, I looked off to the north towards Greeley, and the valley was filled with fog, and it is just very surreal scene with houses and the trees, kind of the tops of them sticking up out of this cloud bank.
3rd and 4 for the Mustangs. They need the 44, check out the 46-yard line. Cody Davis gets the gives, steps around a man, but then will be met as he loses a half yard there at that time, and it'll bring up a 4th and 5, we'll call it, a short 5. 45 seconds remains on the clock, and we'll see Zwedzig come back out for the 2nd time here tonight.
Yeah, Cody Davis just didn't have much of a chance on that play.
We saw Cody Davis get a run attempt last week. Didn't really go for much, and we've seen him on offense here quite a bit in these formations. Zwedzig will set up shop at his own 37, gets the snap, kicks it away, another end-over-end kick. It'll be fielded by the man at the 20-yard line. He'll cut up through the middle and will be hit as he gets about 10 yards on the return for the Warriors. Fleet the return there. As with 10.8 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, the Warriors maintain their 6-0 lead on the 29-yard touchdown run from Dalton Hall. They missed the PAT, and that's where we stand.
Yeah, Fort Morgan's defense has better field position to work with this time. They've got them back on their own 30.
We'll see the same formation that Fort Morgan's been showing here for Frederick as Ballman pitches to the deep man. That's Hall. He's running around to this near side, and he'll be met by Hernandez and Davis as they bring him down. The sidelines here really wet as whatever drained off of the field had made it to the sidelines, and that's all the farther it made it. Hall picks up 9 on the carry, though, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 1 with just 4 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get it off once they blow the whistle to start the clock.
He went out of bounds, so the clock stopped there.
There you go.
This time the give goes to Casey Rivera. He's looking to the far sideline, bounces off a man, and does have the first down, and that will be the end of the first quarter. So after one here in Frederick on a very chilly, cold night, it is 6-0, the Warriors over the Mustangs so far. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have second quarter action for you. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com.